guys, Ash here, Ray Shadow Legends. I am not alone today. I am joined by Skratch. Skratch, what's up, man? Welcome back to the channel. How you doing?
Yo, what's up, Ash? Doing great, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, pretty good actually. It's very cold outside, nice and warm inside, so it's kind of like feeling really cozy, like in the winter. You know, it's just missing that cup of hot chocolate.
I love it, man. I just took my son to like a winter amusement park type thing, and it was great. I was kind of in. It's a little early for me, but I was still kind of in the vibe. It was fun because it was, to your point, super cold out. So, man, it's been a second since I've had you on the channel, so I am thrilled to do something. We've done this before. I think I did this with like, oh God, I forgot, maybe like Chosen or something a long time ago, but basically somebody live to critique my list and talk about all these champions as well, because a lot has changed with Hyrdra Clan Boss, as people know, and we're here on this particular video, not to complain about the changes, because we've done a lot of that, right?
Oh yes, too much.
Something smells fishy.
Let's be a little bit constructive, right? Let's talk about Hyrdra and Nukers now, right after these changes. There's been a lot of new champions added to the game as well. So I ranked my top 20 damage dealers, but I want to get your thoughts along the way, Skratch, and see if you think that I snubbed anybody on the list as well. I want to start by asking you, have you made any changes to your Hyrdra teams, especially with the ally attack changes, the double hit on the HP being depleted changes? Like, have you made any actual changes to your champions, or are you just rolling with the punches?
To be honest, this last week with the Hyrdra, I just got pissed. I went in, did my run super quick, a couple of them on auto. I've tested my Nightmare team with ally attack, Yasu, Theox, just to kind of like get a better understanding of how much damage I'm actually going to lose from that team, and is around 30 to 40% damage loss after the ally attack changes and the multi-hitters changes. And I just threw the towel in like half into the run because I wasn't too happy about it. You know, I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
But other than that, I haven't done changes. My hard team is still running Trunda. And my brutal team is actually more reliable on AoE damage dealers. I have Thor in that team, and I have Taras. So I feel like those champions don't really require the changes, because you can still exceed the damage on decapitated heads when you have a massive nuke, right? It's just mainly an issue with multi-hitters, the ally attacks, and stuff like that,
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. You know, I had originally at number 20 on the list. I had it between like 5 different. I originally made my list on this stupid video for like, you know, 30 Nukers, Skratch, right? And I had to whittle it down, you know, make those tough decisions. And one that I took off that I initially had on 20 was Aboro, who I love. I love Aboro, but a lot of it is that ally attacking, and it is obviously a single hit, but, you know, having that Mikage go in there. So I don't know. I felt like she's still a beast, I think. But anyway, I went with instead somebody who, whenever I make a Hyrdra tier list of any Nukers or any damage dealers, people in the, not a lot of them, but a few people call me out in the comments saying, dude, where's the love for Razzlevarg? So I don't have Razzlevarg. I missed the stupid fusion, man. I'm so bumming out about it. He's a really cool champion. I'm assuming you have the rabbit, Skratch?
I have Bugs Bunny, yeah.
Confidentially, I am a rabbit!
I've seen some pretty insane numbers on this dude, so I had to give him some love and include him on the main list here at number 20. I mean, I've seen free-to-play accounts, I've seen spenders, all of them with really impressive Razzlevarg numbers. So have you used him? What do you think of him? Do you agree?
I did use him as well. I don't have mine, of course, with a 6-star blessing and funky things. He's doing good numbers, but to be honest, these changes are hurting him as well. A lot of these champions, like Oboro, as you mentioned as well, or other AoE damage dealers that don't really have like stupid damage instantly, and they build damage over time. They were really relying on the Hydra heads being decapitated, chilling there for a little while, so they're just building up damage. But unfortunately, with all of the new changes to the Hydra, a lot of these champions lost quite a bit of value, and they are not as effective as they were before, you know. And this is something that 100% affects Razzlevarg, because with one hit, he's not going to one-shot the heads to basically do 5, 6, 7 million damage per head, you know, with an AoE. So because of it, he just doesn't have enough time to build up that damage, because you're going to have a second damage dealer that might wipe the decapitated heads, bring them back, and he never really has that chance to move as before, similar with Oboro, you know.
Okay, so I'm assuming so he would not be. I mean, it's tough to say, right? We're at number 20, but it sounds like he would not be on your top 20.
Still top 20. I think he's still top 20.
All right.
It's just
he's just not as good.
10, you know? Yeah,
not a top 10. Okay, well that's fair. That makes me feel a lot better. I thought you were like, Ash, you're absolutely crazy at first. All right, it's number 19 is going to be Rathalos.
Yep.
He's a tough one to grade, man, because I actually do not use him. Obviously, I have him. Everybody who's playing at the time has him. I don't use him in Hyrdra, but man, I cannot deny the numbers this guy has put up, and I do use him heavily in Curse City, and man, he never disappoints with that A2 especially. Holy mackerel, that is insane. So yeah, maybe Rathalos is snubbed a little bit at 19, but I think he still dishes out a lot of damage, and to your point earlier with Razelvarg, he can deal that burst damage too. Like, I feel like he hits hard enough.
I was literally gonna say the exact same thing. So it does require a lot of setup with him. You need to be very on point with the attacks, to count them, to time everything, right?
Yep.
But he has the ability to really burst millions of damage with a hit, which will exceed the capability of another AoE damage dealer like Razelvarg. So as long as you're kind of like manualing, right, and doing all of the things as you should, he's 100% going to exceed Razelvarg in terms of damage, because it's all about that burst damage now. Exceed that threshold that all of the Hydra heads have when they're decapitated. Bring in the biggest possible nuke and cash in on numbers, basically. Yeah.
Have you ever played the Monster Hunter games or whatever?
I haven't actually. No,
okay.
I haven't.
All right. I haven't either. And like, I mentioned that when those champions were introduced, and a lot of people in the comments were like, dude, you have to try. Like, they're amazing. So maybe I should. But anyway,
they take a lot of time, right? Bro. They're like such grindy games, you know. Like, I used to play Destiny, and I think Fortnite when the first one came out, Monster Hunter. No, I was still back on Destiny actually, and is a very grindy game. Yeah?
Okay, I like grindy games, like in theory, but in practice, I don't have the time.
We don't have time for it, bro. Yeah.
I play raid, bro. That's it.
Exactly.
That's my plan.
Number 18 is Grazer Iron Gut. Grazer's still cool. I use Krisk a lot more than Grazer on my account in the curse set, but if I just wanted damage, which is what this list is all about, I would probably run Grazer. He has the enemy max HP ability, he's got good survivability, he's got the provoke as well. He's a super solid champ, so I put him at 18.
I think it's a fair spot for him. Not only that he brings the damage, but he brings you all of the utility. And to be honest, enemy max HP champions had a value surge now with the changes in the Hydra, because when you decapitate a head, it has double the HP. So as an example, you're gonna hit a head that's not decapitated with defense down weaken, and you're gonna hit a cap of 310k as an example. But once the head is decapitated, you're gonna hit 620k because it's double the HP. So all of the enemy max HP champions actually gain value, and I strongly recommend the players, viewers that are struggling a bit in Hydra. They don't have the necessary gear to build raw damage dealers to bring up big numbers. They haven't really worked on the Great Hall to bring in enemy max HP champions in their teams, because that will increase their damage.
That's a good tip there, Skratch. And I wanted to ask you, to that vein, do you think you would have included a champion like a Husk or a Royal Guard or a Newt even instead of Razelvarg? I'm really putting you on the spot here because they're not on the list. Yeah.
So, to be honest, no. I do think Husk is great, Royal Guard is great. Newt was amazing, but you know what's the problem with Newt? Multi-healing. So as long as you're just hitting the head once he's fresh, decapitated, you're going to do the damage. But once you catch the head on 50% HP or less than 50% HP, and you're going in with the enemy max HP being double, you might actually exceed, and one of the hits might never proc. And
and when you have a blessed bash that doesn't bash, then that's the whole. What's the whole point of a
exactly?
Yeah. All right, cool. Number 17 on the list is going to be Harima. Harima, what a great damage dealer provoker. Probably the best damage dealer provoker, unless I'm forgetting somebody that's going to be higher in the list. She just got that solid damage, right? Obviously, bring the increased defense, you'll get a lot more, and has that provoke as well. Not much else to say, I guess.
Yeah, very nice. I feel like she lost maybe a little bit of value. It really depends how you're looking at, and that's mainly because the A2 is multi-healing skill, and she really relied a lot on Mikage. On Mikage, you know. So, to be honest, when you're running ally attack champions like Mikage, and you're mainly looking at her A1, because that's the whole magic in between Harima and her, rather than the entire ally attack, is not such a big problem because Harima doesn't hit as hard as Theox to instantly create havoc there and destroy the head.
Yeah.
So you gotta be very unlucky to have the head at the super low HP for Mikage to go in with the A1 and basically kill it, right? So I still think that Harima can work really nice with her. Same with Ninja, to be honest, which probably we're going to talk about later.
No spoilers, Skratch. No spoilers.
I think Harima is very solid. Yeah, I think he's a good spot for her. Who knows? Maybe even higher at some point.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see if you disagree with any of these next ones here. We have Hive Lord at 16. Asphodus, the Hive Lord. Do you have
Hive Lord being who?
Aphidus, the mythical.
Okay, Aphidus.
Do you have him?
I do have him. Yeah,
okay.
I do have him.
After the buff, he's quite a bit better. Not better enough, in my opinion. I have him as well to put him inside like the top 10 or anything like that. I think there was a lot of hype right after the buff that he might be like a top 5er, but I think he's let down a little bit from that initial hype. But still, to me, he's a beast. He's got the escalation of damage, so you just keep him in his base form. He also brings increased attack, which is nice on all allies. But solid damage here. What do you think of him?
I think he's nice, and I think he suffered from the same Hyrdra changes syndrome, same like Razelvarg. He does bring in good numbers, but honestly, because of the changes, people did not really have a chance to try him at its peak to really push him in for big numbers, right? So initially, I had a plan to put him in my brutal team instead of Thor, but then I had Thor, and Thor overall he is better.
Yeah.
So I do think that Aphidus is nice because he brings his own increased attack. He can bring in damage, but you need those heads to stay decapitated for a while. So he gets to use the AoEs once, twice, 3 times to really build up the numbers, you know?
Yeah. No, I like him a lot. I use him... I'm kind of between him and Wallmaster in terms of if I need the block bust from a champion. It just depends on what you need, obviously. But he does some like really, really nice damage. Not top tier for me, but he outdamages a lot of like value over replacements. So in like really good merciless gear, of course, right? But saying that about every champion that we mentioned on the list. All right, moving on. At number 15, I have Varl the Destroyer. Varl the Destroyer. You may, let me guess what you're going to say. He might suffer a little bit from the changes to Hyrdra. He's got the escalating damage, of course. He's a quote-unquote farmable, I'll say, Doom Tower champion. I was really surprised. My favorite thing about Varl is he deals a lot of damage as time goes on because of the power-up, but I love that he brings the big version of Weaken on a 3-turn cooldown, too. You can pair him with a Mishinaki or any decreased defense champion. You kind of get both of your big damage debuffs covered on the team. So yeah, I was actually kind of late to the Varl bandwagon, and I was not disappointed. What do you think of this dude?
Yeah, I like Varl, actually. Every champion lost value, right? So that's the reality. But I think Val has,
go ahead. Sorry.
Val has the ability to bring in burst damage with his A3, right? So I remember mine was hitting for like 5, 6, even 7 million sometimes with his A3 skill, you know? And as long as you're targeting the heads when they're like, I don't know, a quarter of HP, 50% HP when they're decapitated, he's going to bring in a massive burst of damage, right? So the good thing is that he's single target, and that skill can put up big numbers. And he does have an AoE, which is not going to do tens of millions, but it will do 1, 2 million, depending on your build as well, and all of the debuffs that you have on, right? So you can always do an AoE with the A2, then move in with the A3 for that extra burst and surplus of damage, basically, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so Varl still good at 15. Number 14 on the list, I have... This guy's tough to grade, but I have Mishinaki. I don't know what you think of this guy. I mean, obviously, he's great with a Mikage, with that A1 potentially, depending on who your team is. Part of the value, I mean, a huge part of the value is all the debuffs and what he brings, right? The Hex, the buff removal, a lot of his damage will come from the Hex. He also has an AoE, decreased attack, decreased defense as well. And then he has that join in with the burn on the A1. So, man, his damage never disappoints. But again, a lot of it is coming from the Hex. So you got to like mitigate or factor that in. Either way, I still think he's a beast. Maybe a little bit high at 14. What do you think?
I think he's still very, very strong. And as you mentioned, it's so hard to just think about only his damage when he's bringing so many other things, and that's kind of like one thing that instantly makes us rank him higher than some other damage dealers that are not doing as much. I feel like Mishinaki as well, he needs a lot of time to build up his damage, you know, And I feel like he's definitely losing a bit on that side, just for the simple fact that the Hydra heads are down for a very limited time now, and you just don't have that luxury of constantly having him using that A1 from joining in other attacks or with the Mikage, because he can only do it once, twice, and then bang, that head is back. And you don't have that luxury like before to constantly spam that A1,
No, that's a good point on the A1 for sure. He's, like I said, he's tough. Maybe just for a sheer damage dealer, maybe should be a little bit lower now on the list.
I think so, yeah.
But man, it's hard to ignore everything that he does. But that's not what this list is supposed to be. Anyway, at number 13, we have a champion that I do not have, but I tried to get this damn dude, and it's Volcanos Fumer. Do you have him?
I have him. Ooh. I can say that I got him actually. Yeah.
Congratulations. I don't know what you think of him, if he met expectations, but I saw video after video, either test build or just straight up in game of this guy absolutely just dealing some insane damage.
Faction Unity champions for demon spawns.
New faction Unity for the demons.
Pulled him around 2 days ago.
We pulled him! Oh my. We got him. We got him. We hit the jackpot.
Demon spawn.
Today I got the 5-star.
I love him. Yeah, he's absolutely insane in terms of damage. The passives are crazy, the way he can basically ignore 100% of the target's defense because of the burn activations. Very good damage, the counter attack all the time. I do think that he's very, very solid, and I think he deserves the spot 100%. Okay. Plus, he brings the burn whenever they buff. For that, of course, you need to basically allow them to buff. But he's even better in other type of content than Hyrdra. Very solid champion, yeah.
So how much of him, because this is the problem with all these Unity champions or whatever, right? Like, how much of him is like, okay, in theory, he's a beast? Because I feel like this happens more often than not with these lords or whatever. Like, in theory, he's a beast, but then when push comes to shove, I'm not going to make an all-demon spawn team around him. I'd rather just go with my normal teams. Like, does he fit in without having all the Unity bonuses? If so, like, how do you feel when you factor in, like, how difficult it can be to build a balanced team around a lord like this?
I think you 100% need at least 2 demons with him to really get him popping, to decrease his cooldowns all the time and to really basically take the magic, ignore the defense. You can bring in a Cisia with him. You can bring in maybe a Duchess, and that's already really making a pretty strong team because you're covering a lot of ground with those champions in there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. At number 12 on the list, we have good old Turvold. So Turvold's an interesting champion because I love Turvold, man. Like, I clearly, because I think that if you were to look at like most tier lists, they probably wouldn't even have him on anymore, right? Like, I feel like he's definitely fallen out of the zeitgeist of, and he definitely has that burst damage, but he also has it on a 2-time hitter. So there are some definite, ramifications there. What do you think of Turvold? This guy, like, I use Turvold as one of my main DPSs on my teams, and boy, I still think he's absolutely insane. Am I crazy?
No, I think he's very, very solid. I'm fortunate enough to have a 6-star on him. He's +4 as well, and he absolutely destroys whatever he goes at. Now for Hyrdra, because his whole magic is in the multi-healing skill, right? I feel like he's just bringing in so much firepower with his double hits with each one of them that in a lot of cases, if you're not using him on Nightmare, he's gonna one-shot ahead before the second hit comes in, which will make him lose half of his damage.
So on the plus side, he's one-shotting him. On the downside, you're losing 50% damage on the big fella. Yeah, man, he's still dealing insane. Are you using him? I hope, or not?
I'm not using him in Hyrdra. Sometimes I'm just throwing him in. I actually was running him before Thor, if I remember it correctly. Yeah.
Okay. So you upgraded with Thor.
Yeah, I did with AoE damage, yeah. And
okay. Well, it's a good thing I had Thor higher on the list because I made a last-minute adjustment. Go on.
For fun, I would run him in Hyrdra, but because of these recent changes, not anymore, no.
All right, so you definitely think I'm crazy to have him that high. Is that safe to say?
Yes, and
Skratch calls me crazy. That's the title of this video. I've got it all planned.
yeah, I think you can put it like that. Yeah.
We have our first big disagreement on Thor. Or excuse me, on Turvold on the list. At number 11 or 10, I'm losing track here. We have Wallmaster Athorian. Wallmaster. Yep. I love Wallmaster too, man. Like I love him almost as much as Turvold. I just love that he's a simple champion. AoE's all over the place, block buffs, an essential debuff that he can bring to the table, and an enemy max HP ability. I mean, there's not much else to say about him.
Yeah, he's very similar with Mishinaki, right? Like he just brings so much stuff to the table. And as I mentioned, enemy max HP, they had a value surge, much better now because of the double damage on decapitated heads, and the utility that he brings on is great. The only thing that I don't like about him is all of the buffs that he brings to himself.
I shut that off sometimes.
Because it's annoying when he becomes the mischief target. If you don't have already increased accuracy in your team, and that's something that I don't tend to run on my teams, right? That tends to cause me issues with the mischief targeting and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, and yeah, I agree with you. I also think it's weird on an ability like this. If you, let's just say you already had a team with the increased attack, increased accuracy, or let's just say you didn't need the accuracy. Let's say you already had a team where you had like a buff extender, like a Krisk or a Mikage, and you already had these buffs covered. On a champion like Wallmaster, taking out Mischief Tank is, right? Would you typically turn an ability off just because you want the buffs to stay there longer and just hammer away at the A2 and the A1 and the A2? Or would you keep it on to reduce cooldown of A2 throughout the duration of the battle?
So I'm a bit more notorious with Hyrdra because I tend to manual it, right? And what I would do, I would not use it for a while. And when I feel like it's the right moment to gain that extra turn, I would basically do it, you know?
Yeah, so okay. Well, what if you had to put it on full auto, though?
On full auto, most likely I would stop it, yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm in the same boat, though. I'm like, it's just as needed, right? Ad hoc. All right, next up on the list, my man, I have Taurus the Fierce. What do you think of Taurus?
I think with the current changes, he's definitely higher than what we have him for the moment. Where are we? What number?
Right now? We're at
number 9.
9. Yeah,
I think he is a top 5 GOAT just because he's one of those few champions that has a massive burst AoE damage, and because we can exceed it, it's a single hit. You can exceed the HP of the decapitated heads, right? And with a single hit, he can bring in very big numbers.
All right, so Taurus, it's hard to say disagree here in the top 10, but you think he should be even higher on the list.
Still
a go. So, yeah. Okay, so when you're building the team around Taurus, obviously you're just taking as many buffers and as many buff extenders as possible in terms of setting him up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, coming in at number, I think I still have 9, maybe I lost track, but we have your guy Thor. What do you think of Thor on the list at this spot?
I think Thor is still very solid, to be honest. He does have the ability with the A2 to really do a lot of big damage. At least one of the hits out of the 4, right? The fourth one will do crazy damage. It is a bit of an RNG, which heads are getting targeted by the hits in which order. But I think Thor, he should be a bit higher maybe as well, to be honest. I think he's very, very, very good as an AoE champion. And
all right.
Yeah.
So we have 8 champions left on the list, and I want to know who you would put Taurus, or like say below. I almost guarantee that this next one you're going to have a little bit lower, if not a lot lower, and that is at number, or maybe not. Next up on the list is going to be Acrisia at number 8. What do you think of Acrisia? Obviously, enemy max HP champions are great, and she's got 3 of them. What do you think? She's got 2 double hitters on there too.
Yeah, I think she's too highly ranked on the list, so I would definitely drop her quite a bit. I personally think that even a champion like Val the Destroyer is better than Acrisia, in my opinion. But that's very subjective because it really depends from what point of view you're looking at. If you're looking from the point of view of an endgamer that is already able to build characters with good stats to do raw damage, they worked a bit on the Great Hall for Hyrdra, then raw damage dealers will win. But if you're looking from the perspective of a player that's still kind of like getting a hang of Hyrdra, they don't have the best gear available and stuff, then Acrisia is going to be great for them, right? It's going to be godly. So it's very subjective with her, right? But I think she's nice. I just don't think she's as impactful as she used to be when they released her,
Okay, I think she is, with these changes, at least in my clan, man, I'm seeing like,
What you want from me?
well, you can't see it because I don't have the screen shared. But man, I'm seeing a lot of people move back to Acresia lately, right? Like in terms of her damage, I think it's and again, I have her, but I haven't used her recently. But I'm just seeing like not just my clan, but like a lot of people in this Hydra clash too, getting some pretty insane numbers with Acresia. So like maybe I meet somewhere in the middle. Like it's point well taken in terms of, especially like Varl, those damage escalators or whatever in the right gear, like they are insane. I can't argue that. But I think that Acresia maybe a little bit slept on right now with the triple enemy max HPs. But we can let the folks argue it out in the comments. We have number 7 on the list, and that is going to be Ninja. What do you think of Ninja at number 7? Pretty high.
I think he should be even higher.
What? But Skratch, you can't say everybody's higher, bro.
I think we're gonna have a bit of a disagreement with some of them.
Skratch is gonna have an 8-way tie at number 1, bro.
Ninja, in my opinion, at least before all of the changes, in the right setup. But that is in the perfect setup for all of the damage dealers. Let's just say we would create a team, and we're using the exact same team for all of the damage dealers. Ninja, in my opinion, as it is, would probably come around top 4. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm guessing your top 4 is gonna be like Ninja, Thor. Who else was I too low on? Taurus. All right. We got number 6 on the list. Okay, I'm imagining that you're not gonna like my top 6 then, because you have a few disagreements. But I have Garrel, Blood Maul. Garrel, man, you can't hate on Garrel, bro. She's still a beast, still a great damage dealer. I have her and I love her, but don't give me a man.
But she's in the same situation with Oboro and the rest. Her damage just doesn't absolutely wreck the Hydra. She builds damage over time through ally attacks. She's joining in with the A1, and
she's still hitting all the time, though.
She is, but if the heads are not decapitated, she's not really going to bring big numbers. So it's all about burst damage now. And there are not many champions that can really do crazy big burst damage. That's the whole thing with Garrel. So I think Garrel would drop beneath Thor, Taurus, Ninja.
So somewhere in the teens, so the low teens or so on your list?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5 on the list. It's going to be interesting. I'm not sure what you're going to think of this guy. It's going to be Marius. I have Marius at number 5 on the list. What do you think of him?
I think Marius is great. Triple hitter. If you have the defense down the weekend, he's most likely going to hit the cap on the damage all the time. If not, he's going to struggle a bit, depending on what sort of gear you have available.
Yep.
I think he is great. As I mentioned, he will bring in very good numbers for a lot of players. And one thing that I did not have a chance to kind of say about Acresia, very similar with Marius as well, they're very auto-friendly. And that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people are switching to these champions now.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think Marius, what is it? Top 5 or 6?
We're at 5 right now. It's
5.
very high.
So I think Marius
high.
for me would probably be at around number 8.
Okay. All right. I still feel like we're in the same neighborhood here. We can go visit. Still lend each other.
Yeah, still close, just
stuff,
a couple of doors away,
All right, cool. Number 4 on the list, another champion that I do not have is going to be Legate Teox.
Legate Teox, yeah.
Legate.
They'll never hear us.
This guy still is out damaging almost everybody in my Hydra clash right now. I saw some videos being like, is he dead? And I'm like, so far it looks like he's alive and well, according to all the numbers that I'm seeing. What do you think about this guy? How's he doing? Because I don't have him.
100% he lost a lot of value, but he's still one of the better options. So a lot of people will be like, what do you mean you lost a lot of value? You're still doing 100 million damage in 20 turns or something.
Right? I was going to say, quick. Yeah, okay.
Comparing it with what he used to do and with what he was advertised as, he lost a lot of value. But at the same time, him enabling other champions to deal crazy damage is all about timing. It's all about making sure that your other damage dealer that's in the same team with him will get to deal at least one hit on a decapitated head It's very hard to make it happen now because Theox hits pretty hard as well, right? But he can bring in crazy damage without even thinking about the A1. His A3 is just absolutely nuts on his own.
Are you okay?
No, well, you can't see it because I don't have the screen shared.
Right? Plus, he has the ability to increase the damage by crazy numbers for another damage dealer in the team. So he is massive. Yeah, he's still massive. 100%.
Okay, so you agree with that ranking, give or take?
Yeah, definitely.
Jeez, man, that guy is insane. I was just looking at some insane numbers on from one of my clanmates. Is like, good God, I'm jealous. All right, I have my big top 3, man. I want to know, who you disagree with here. Number 3, this is an interesting one. You could probably say the same thing about Legate that you said about, or Teox that you said about this guy, and Toshiro. So Toshiro's still my best damage dealer on my, well, maybe not. Very close to number 1 on my account. And he's worse than he was, but he's still an insane damage dealing maniac, right? So like maybe we're grading on a curve, but I still have him top 3, and I was tempted to put him top 2. What do you think of Toshiro? You keep him base form, he escalates damage, and sure, he's got like AoE, he's got 4-time hitter, he's got the the penalty of not getting as many A1s in now after the changes, but what he's got is burst damage on almost every ability, basically, like millions, no matter what he's hitting or when he's hitting. What do you think of Toshiro?
Yeah, I think that number 3 is spot on for Toshiro. I think that's where he belongs. He's very strong. He used to be number 2 for a while, but then they introduced another champion, and things changed a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move right on to the other champion, who I also don't have, but I know you have this dude. And
I do. Yeah.
From the numbers that I've seen on this guy, I hate to say it, Ieyasu has even better damage than I've seen from Toshiro out there. Has that been your findings, Skratch? And talk a little bit about this guy, because again, I don't have.
Yeah, so Oreo Ieyasu is absolutely nuts. Not only, even though he was kind of like looking as an arena champion,
right?
I said when I was on the tester, but let me just give it a go in Hyrdra. And my God, it just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I even checked, is this champion bugged? Is he intended to work like this? What's the whole plan, Plarium, And they were like, no, this champion works as intended. I was like, wow, okay, he's solid. And
works as intended. That's the death knell sometimes. Be careful, bro. Be careful.
I didn't thought that he's going to basically work so good and to actually beat Toshiro. I was saying that he might get close to Toshiro, but I wasn't 100% sure if he's actually going to beat him. But I had one of my clanmates that used to have the world record for a team with Toshiro, and that was 10 billion, right? On the previous Hyrdra before the changes. And then he tried with Ieyasu and he did 20 billion. And I was like, oh, wow. That's a big jump from Toshiro to Ieyasu, like double the damage.
Right.
From 10 to 20 billion. And even now, I actually had the world record for a little while. Probably now, with all the changes, it's not the same. But I had 1.7, almost 1.8 billion after the changes with Ieyasu. And the Toshiro teams, they were doing like 1.1, 1.2.
Is the majority of his damage coming from the A2 once it's powered up all the way? Or is
it's all about the passive, actually.
Is it okay? So it's just anything with that passive excess damage?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right, maybe someday we'll see on my account. But number 1 is going to be to the surprise of probably absolutely nobody out there, even after they literally changed everything about Hydra Clan Boss to make Trunda worse.
Just to stop her.
She's still number 1 on the list, and I think it speaks volumes. I almost feel like there's nothing else that needs to be said on Trunda. There she is, still on the top. Is there anybody in the conversation with you with Trunda right now?
Nah, like nobody stands a chance.
All right.
Ieyasu is the second best option, and he's miles away from her.
All right. What do you think about?
It's 5, 6, 7x. He's gonna get to 10x the damage of any other team soon.
Okay. Well, there we go. There you go. I guess
no
Yumekos.
No Yumekos in that team as well. Not even one Yumeko. No Kaimar either.
All right, guys. So Trunda's still on top. I mean, any other thoughts on Trunda? Like, do you? Anything else that hasn't been said already about Trunda that you can think of?
Hard to say, because I feel like I've said it so many times. They just need to basically grab her by the legs and sort her out. And Maybe
Be
reverse
careful
some
grabbing those
changes.
legs, bro. You need a good grip, man.
They do need a good grip. That's the problem. They don't have a good grip. That's why he's still at the top, man.
All right, well, there it is, guys. That's our top 20. We had a little bit of disagreement along the way, but I think overall, like, can you think of anybody that I didn't include that you're like, dude, bro, where's that champion?
It's so hard.
Yeah, I
to be
know.
honest with you, because there's so many champions.
There's
and
so
I always have the impression that I'm missing somebody. You know,
Me too. And
out
usually
of
the
the whole
comments
list.
let me know about it right away if I am. So, but
I mean, we
don't know.
do have the usual suspects. Like we have of course Gizmac. We have Alice as mythical champions that are pretty good. But to be honest, I'm not. After the changes, I haven't played them, and it's very hard for me to kind of like place them in any of these slots right here. You know, they're good. They're very good, but I don't know if
Like,
they would beat a few of them from there. You know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like really solid champions not on the list, but I kind of did some damage comparisons and I was like, I think that these are the 20 I'd go with at the end of the day. But let us know if you disagree and let us know. I'm sure we snubbed somebody, so let us know who in the comments below.
Well, that's what I'm actually looking through all of the champions, but
yeah,
I can't see.
We're gonna go ahead over to Skratch's channel and record a quick collab there, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. The fun doesn't need to stop here, guys.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and check out that link in the description in the pinned comment below. Skratch, thanks for joining me, man. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, man.
All right, take care, guys.